Hello, it's Alexander Hagberg here from Team X-Ray. Today we're going to talk about the X12'23 Top Options, which means that I'm going to show you the option parts that I recommend for different conditions and why I think they are useful. So these are the most useful option parts, not all of them, but the ones that I use most frequently. So let's start with the first one. The first option part is the stiff front spring, the black one, which is one of the two option parts in terms of front springs. We have the kit silver spring, but we also have the gold, which is softer, and we have the black, which is stiffer. The stiffer spring is C rating 2.1 and 2.3. It's a bit stiffer than the kit spring. And what is the benefit of using a stiffer front spring? It keeps the front of the car flatter, so this makes the car more consistent for high grip conditions. It doesn't roll as much, doesn't transfer as much weight. It will increase the steering response initially, but it will decrease the steering from corner exit as well as mid corner. So first part of the corner, the car is going to steer a bit more, but overall you're going to have a bit less steering with the stiffer front spring. But it can help to make the car more consistent for high bite situations and whenever you feel that the front end of the car is rolling too much. So black front spring is my first suggestion for option parts. The second one is the 0.5 Kingpin, which is half a degree of front camber built into it. As you may know, the EU version of the kit comes with a 1.5 degree Kingpin. The US version comes with a 1 degree Kingpin, which means it has less front camber built into it. And why are these two cars sold with different Kingpin degrees? Because the US kit is mostly used for very high grip situations where you want the car to be smoother, you don't want the car to be traction rolling, and that's why we use a 1 degree Kingpin in the US kit. And especially for spec racing on high grip surfaces, you may want to go even less front camber. That's why we offer this 0.5 degree front Kingpin. So very much useful for high grip surfaces, especially for spec racing, for stock classes. But you can also fine tune the front camber with these Kingpins for whichever surface that you're racing on. We also have the optional 2 degree Kingpin if you want to increase the front camber of the car. These are important option parts. The next one is the black side spring. The kit comes with gold side springs, which is the medium setting. We also offer the silver side springs, which are 1 step softer. And the black side springs are 1 step stiffer. So I personally tend to use these for any high grip tracks, even on ETS carpet sometimes, even on European tracks, but mostly for CRC black carpet. To keep the car flatter, the car will have less roll, less side bite, but it will be more predictable and not have as much wheel lift on high grip. So black side springs definitely my go-to choice for high grip tracks to make the car flatter and more consistent. The next option part is the gear differential. The X-Ray gear differential has been around for a few years now. It's been a popular option part for the X12 car in the past as well. But of course it still fits the X12'22 as well. Even though the new car has been designed around a solid axle in the rear, you still have the option to use the well-proven gear differential. And the X-Ray gear differential works extremely well. It's very easy to build, has a very smooth diff action, it's not very heavy. So I recommend using this for any low grip tracks and asphalt racing, any situation where the solid axle doesn't provide enough side bite. The downside of using a gear differential in the rear is it has more rotational weight, so it's heavier. For that reason, you'll lose a bit of acceleration compared to a solid axle, but it will have more side bite and it will be more forgiving to drive. So you can obviously adjust the hardness of the gear differential by using different thickness silicone oil. So you can use as light as 500 CST or as heavy as 100,000 CST. It all comes down to how much diff action you want for your particular racing condition. The gear diff is another important part. And we also offer a ball diff. This used to be a standard part in the X12'21 EU kit. But for the X12'22, the solid axle is now standard in both kits. The gear diff is sold as an option part. And once again, like I've said about the gear diff, for any condition where you require more side bite from the car, the ball differential is suggested. For example, very low grip carpet, asphalt racing and so on. The ball differential is a bit lighter than the gear diff, so it will have a bit better acceleration. But the downside is that it's not maintenance free like the gear diff. This needs to be rebuilt every few runs, like I've shown in my ball diff build video. But when it's freshly built and has a smooth diff action, it works very well on low grip surfaces. So ball diff, now an option part, but still useful for some situations. And last but not least, we have the black center spring, 4-dot center spring, which is a C3.1 rating. The kit comes with a C2.8 rating, 3-dot center spring. So this is stiffer than the kit spring. And what happens when you go stiffer with a center spring? You have even more initial steering response. The car will steer more on power, it will be more aggressive to drive, and it will transfer less weight from front to back. So this can be useful for any flat tracks with good grip, where you need to have more response from the car and where you need to make it more aggressive. So I personally use this on both ETS and CRC carpet with good success, and definitely one of the more useful option parts that I can recommend for fine-tuning the feel of the car. And those are my top options for the X12'22, and I hope that you found this video useful. Let me know if you have any questions at all.